17 NBA seasons, Rudy Gay has called it a career. Looking back, we can say Rudy was the prototype for today's wing player. His length, ability to shoot, get to the rim, defend, and create was ahead of his time for his era. Coming out of Baltimore, Rudy arrived at UConn where he sharpened his game before going pro. In the 17 seasons, Rudy was a walking highlight who was a star in Memphis and went on to standout years in Toronto, Sacramento, San Antonio before closing things out in Utah. In retirement, Rudy and Penny discussed the details of being a pro. As he can appreciate it now, Rudy speaks to his dedication, what the game did for his life, and what he wished he knew then that he knows now. Overall, it was a hell of a run for Rudy Gay, and he was truly special to watch. So here he is in retirement, Rudy Gay on the 2 Cents Podcast. Remember, subscribe wherever you get your podcast for every episode as soon as they drop.
All right, everyone. Welcome to my 2 Cents Podcast. We have a special guest on board today, Mr. Rudy Gay. Rudy, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Man, thanks for having me, man. You're a legend, brother.
No, I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. And I appreciate everything you did for Memphis. Just being a fellow Memphian, man, when you were here, huge heart, man.
Yeah.
Huge heart. And I appreciate that because most guys, when they go from city to city, they don't really get involved in the community. They just kind of hoop. But everybody here still loves you, rightfully so. And, man, we love to see you every time you come back. So thank you so much.
Man, Memphis ain't one of those cities where you can just go and yeah, I mean, just go home. Nah, you gotta touch the city, man. Like, you gotta touch the city or the city will touch you. One of the others, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, for sure.
So I kind of got immersed in it.
Yeah, no, but thanks for that, man. Now we're just going to talk about where you're from, at Baltimore, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
You see I put the D where the T was? The Baltimore, man. Talk to us about, your upbringing, man, and how did you get the ball in your hands?
To be honest, Baltimore has always been a city where, basketball was dominant. We got every sports team but basketball. But Baltimore's always been a basketball city. Very competitive. I grew up, I'm like 2 years younger than Melo. So, Juan Dixon, Sam Cassell. All these guys were just people that I saw and was like right ahead of me. And like, man, look, if they can do it, I can do it. But, basketball actually wasn't even my first sport. I played baseball. Okay. I was a baseball player, and you know how that is when you get too tall, like you can't. So around like middle school, I was like, I'm gonna focus on basketball, and it worked out for me.
Yeah, and then I have to go into this little spiel. Tell me how you got to UConn, man. You were right there to be a Terp, right there.
I was.
And I know and how did you get to UConn?
Yo, no, it's a funny story, man. It's a funny story, and I still get a lot of slack because I live back in Baltimore right now, so I get a lot of slack about not going to Maryland. And I grew up always watching Maryland, and I grew up right like when they won the championship was like right around when I was supposed to decide my schools, and I went on my visit to Maryland. I just didn't feel it. Just didn't feel it, man. And and you being in that business, when a hometown kid, you gotta make him understand why he cannot leave anywhere, but stay. You gotta stay home. You know what I mean? And they didn't do that. So, I went to UConn. Coach Calhoun showed me love at first. He crazy. He was crazy. He was crazy. But he showed me love, and he got me there, and I'm happy I made that decision.
Yeah, that's good, man. Not to knock Maryland. Shout out to Maryland. It's just you made your decision and went on to do great things.
No, they knock me all the time, so it is where it is.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you. I was trying to do the political side of it.
I know. You can be political.
Yeah, but no. So now, the 2 years at UConn, right?
Yeah.
How was that experience when you first got on campus? Because you're playing with some dudes that can go.
Yeah, so I got there the year after they won the championship. So, we had returning champions, guys hungry, and guys that wanted to win it again. So I had to fall in line. I was All-American coming in there, and of course, you know how you are, like coming into college, being the guy in high school, and you thinking I'm gonna go to college and do that. Coach Calhoun was like, nah, you gotta come off this bench. So he kept me hungry and kept me wanting more. And I think certain kids need that. I was one of those kids that needed that humbling.
Yeah, I think in today's age, if a young man that had your statute goes to a school and says you're coming off the bench, they're like, I'm not coming there.
Right.
I'm about to transfer.
Exactly.
And but you stayed though, so that says a lot about who you were.
Yeah, I stayed. I played the course, and I'm thankful for that. I think right now, and you could tell me more than I could tell you, but from what I see is back then you had to prove yourself. It wasn't, you couldn't leave and go here and there. You had to just go there and look, I'm going to fight through this. And it made you more of a man. It made you tougher. Because, Coach Calhoun told me as soon as I got on campus, he said, "But you know that nice coach that you met in the meetings, he gone."
Yeah, he gone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, so you get your 2 years in, and then you get drafted. I mean, obviously that's a dream come true because it was a dream come true for me.
Yeah.
8th pick. How was that leading up to that? Like, say just a week before draft. Like, how are you feeling, man? Like, the time is getting closer for me to be drafted.
Well, I think it really sets in that you're so far out of your comfort zone at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like you packing your bags. You're getting ready to, think about going to New York, but you're literally going somewhere to figure out where you would be living in the next 4 years. But you have to start, your life. You got to move, buy a house, do all these things, meet new people. And doing that at 19 is crazy. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Looking back at it, it's like, man, look. And also me having kids now, 2 boys, it's like, dang, I'll be expecting a lot from my 19-year-old son. You know what I mean? To be able to do all that. And I think what kids don't understand here is a kind of, obviously they know how to play basketball. And so, the select few are really good at basketball. But, it's the maturity you got to have being a basketball player that the average person don't know. They see all the flashy stuff and all that. They don't see what's under the hood. And, a 19-year-old moving to Memphis, not knowing anything, not knowing anything about the South at all. The furthest down I've been in North Carolina before that. So, and the crazy part is I had family in Connecticut too. So I'd never been away from family. So,
wow.
It was a shock.
So how was your rookie year? You came into a good situation because you were one of one. There were no Rudy Gays on this team that could come in and be as dynamic and bring what you brought to the table.
Yeah.
How was that? Talk about your rookie year.
Well, I had a lot of ups and downs in my rookie year too. Mike Fratello was my coach, and he was one of those stern coaches that just didn't go for anything. And Jerry West had drafted me, and Jerry had a plan for me, and their plans didn't really go together. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
Of course, I'm sitting down, I'm on the bench, and guys are playing, and we're not winning a lot, and I'm just looking for my opportunity, and unfortunately, Mike Fratello got fired. Not saying that I had anything to do with that, but unfortunately he got fired.
For sure.
Unfortunately for him, he got fired, and that next day I was in the starting lineup, and it was like they threw me right in the fire, and I'm thankful for that. Rest in peace, Jerry West.
Yeah, for sure. Rest in peace, Jerry West, a legend. The logo.
The logo, man.
And he was very smart because he understood talent.
Yeah.
Like he drafted you, he drafted Kobe, he drafted a lot of guys and understood what he saw. And as you're starting from like where you begun in Memphis to where it went to, just talk about that little journey of the different teammates coming and, man, starting to get a buzz and starting to win and expecting to win championships versus coming in early and just trying to get your feet wet.
Well, it was a transition too, as you know. Like, to be in the NBA is one thing. To learn how to win in the NBA is another. Like I said, they threw me in the fire, and that was one of those things where I had to learn. And being being young and being the guy on that team, and being blamed for a lot of those wins, well, a lot of those losses. Not necessarily the wins, but the losses for sure.
I understand.
It makes you grow up, and it got to a point where seeing play like you said, seeing teammates come in there, come and go. Seeing the ascension of people like Mike Conley and Marc Gasol, being there when they drafted them and traded for them, and when they traded for Zach, who's now a Memphis legend, and being there when they got Tony, and really seeing the team get to a point where I thought we can compete. But politics as usual, and things happen.
Man.
I do still feel some sort of way about not being on that team, and
I do
not
too.
being able
No lie, straight
to
up.
compete and try to win a championship. But that's water under the bridge.
Yeah, that's part of the business. And then you were there from the beginning, and when you see the team get to the point to where you can win,
Yeah.
you're like, I want to be here. I've been invested. I've invested a lot of
Yeah.
time, blood, sweat, tears,
Yeah.
being blamed, and now it's time to win. I'm ready, and it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm traded.
Like like
Yeah.
you get to a team, and players come in, and you get to a point where like you have to humble yourself to know, like, look, this is how we win. We were becoming a team, and we were starting to gel and become really good. Like these are guys that I still talk to this day. Like, Mike was my teammate again. Zebo, I see him all the time. Like Mark, I was just in Memphis with him for his jersey retirement. So like that's a bond. Like to be with a team that comes from the bottom and ends up, at the top of the West. That's a bond that you can never. I've never won a championship, but I think that's probably the only thing that could compare to, being with these guys that long and really going through the mud.
Yeah, let's talk about your regiment.
Mm-hmm.
What were your summers consisted of as a ball player? Because I played ball all summer. I didn't have the individual training stuff like they do nowadays. I just hooped
Man,
all the time.
they get
So
trained at 7
regiment?
years old now, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I just, especially during the summer, it was like I would take maybe a month off just to my body to heal. Like
Okay.
from then, I would lift and shoot, and then gradually, what kids don't understand, like you can play basketball and do these workout moves, but it's different with somebody in front of you.
Yeah.
So you can go do your training, but you gotta play basketball, man. Like there's no kind of training that could compensate, natural reactions. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing how to play basketball, and you know, especially when you become a pro, it's like you still gotta play. You gotta, yeah, I understand you practice your moves, but if you're not practicing them against nobody, then you can't just show up to the game and just try those moves out.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because it's just cones are cones and bodies are bodies. So
I know you see a whole
if you
lot of
can
that.
blend, if you can blend both, you need to do both.
Right.
Like you need to go do your drill work, but you need to get in the games
Right.
and the little pickup games and all that, and kind of see how that works. So, to me, you're the prototype for today's wing player, like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Mikal Bridges. Like, where do you see any of your game in them, or what do you think about those players that I just named? Maybe not.
I see a lot of, like, Jaylen Brown. I see a lot. Obviously he's taking it to another level, but I see a lot of Jaylen Brown. Mikal Bridges, I think he plays a lot more defense than I used to, so I can't say that. But
Right.
Jason Tatum, like those kind of things. I see it in the step backs and the posting up and the hard drives, like the stuff like that. You know what I mean? But they those guys take this to the next level, and I'm just here. I'm happy to be able to talk to them whenever they ask me for something.
Yeah, you're being modest, man. You have major game, but those guys do have major game as well. I respect every last one of those young men for sure. Who are your prototypes? Who are your guys? Like my guy was Magic Johnson. I was a huge Magic fan because of his charisma, his playmaking ability, his size, to be able to handle the ball. He got joy out of making other players better, and he won. I mean, he's a winner. So, who was your guy just coming through when you got in the league that you were like, hey, I like this guy or these guys?
My favorite players of all time. Obviously, we're in the Jordan era, so like you got to play against him, and I don't know how that would have been crazy. You played against him in the playoffs, which was and put him out of the playoffs. So
Yeah, that was tough.
You're one of not many that have done that. So
Right.
look,
Right.
kudos to you, my brother. So
no, I appreciate it.
Obviously Jordan. T-Mac was one of my favorite players growing up. And
Shout out to
honestly,
Mac.
I'm not even saying this because I'm on a 2 Cent podcast, bro. But like, you've heard Iggy talk about it, and I'm gonna say the same thing, man. I've honestly been watching you since Blue Chips, bro. So
No, I appreciate
bro,
it.
like
Don't make me
honestly,
feel old, but I definitely appreciate that.
and Baltimore, we wear your shoes now, bro.
Yes, sir. That's shout out to Baltimore, man. You saw the DMV phones?
Yeah, I
We
did.
need some Baltimore phones too.
Yeah, we do. We wore them, man. And you know what? That's another reason I went to Connecticut, man. I saw Ben Gordon out there wearing the phones. Like, we can wear whatever shoes we want. Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ben Gordon too.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for Dollars and Cents, where every week on the 2 Cents podcast, we pick our 3 favorite games from our 3 favorite teams for the week. The NBA season is in full swing, and that means new ways to get into the action at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. So here it is, this week's Dollars and Cents. We're going to start off with a team that is a nightmare matchup because they got one guy, Wemby, and that's the Spurs. We love them in their matchup at home on Thursday versus the Blazers. Number 2, getting it done at both ends of the floor and really gelling, sticking with the defensive theme, leading the league in steals and blocks. Give us Oklahoma City and their matchup also at home on Friday against Houston. And also on Friday, we're riding with the defending champs. They are scary good. Obviously, historic nights, shooting, leading the league in threes. Pointers made. Give us Boston at home against Brooklyn. Every point counts with the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PENNY. That's code PENNY for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you give just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
But no, seriously though, I just, as a player, I tried to just leave everything out on the line, out on the court. I worked on my skill. I worked on the IQ of the game. I studied film. I did everything I could to try to give my team an advantage to win. And I tried to add something different every year. Did you try to add anything different? Did you try to add something different every year? Let's just talk about that.
Yeah, because, I mean, rightfully so, early in my career, I got a lot of slack for shooting the ball. I mean, and we didn't win a lot, so I thought I had to. I'm just putting myself in my 19, 20, 21-year-old, body, and me thinking like that. So, with that being said, like I said before, when you get teammates that can play too, you have to change your game to something different. You know what I'm saying? You have to maybe do a little less and more of something else. And, and then, injuries, as you know, also like that. I have two torn Achilles. I have shoulder surgery. I've had a lot of injuries, back surgery. So that not being able to move like you used to, it makes you, even your training and how you play, it's like you have to change that. You have to play to figure out what your body does. And that was, I had to change my game over and over and over, man. When I left Toronto, when I left Memphis, it was like, I had to be more of a playmaker at Toronto and in Sacramento too, because we didn't have too many of them. So, look, let me tell you something. I still don't know how you do it at your height and Magic. I don't know how y'all play point guard. I played point guard for 1 week. Them boys they were picking me up full court. I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
94
feet, go get them.
Too? I'm like, no, I ain't built for this, man. Put me on the wing.
Yeah, no, it's a tough job, man, because you got tall guys that can handle, and you have tall guys that can be PGs, and you got PGs. So at the end of the day, it's an everyday walk of life. I'm glad when I was younger that I got thrown in the fire early and just learned how to just take that pressure, and then it just got better and better as I got older. But being thrown into that position and never had been put there, that's tough.
Man, we had a couple injuries, and they were like, man, we don't got no point guard. I said, I'll do it. Man, I was ice bath and everything after that game. I was like, nah, we need to sign somebody, man. I can't do it.
Yeah, let's talk about the transition from being who you were to the injuries and, like you said, having to change your game. Because I had to do the same thing. It's tough on you mentally, not only physically, but mentally. Like, damn, I used to blow by this guy.
Right.
Now I got to kind of back him down instead of blowing by him. Let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, really what it is it's just maturing. You know, knowing the game, knowing yourself, and being mature enough to tell yourself, I can't do that. I got to figure out something else. You know, maybe I can't impact this game scoring today. Maybe I have to guard the best player. You know what I'm saying? Maybe okay, we need help on the boards. Okay, find a way to get yourself in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, after I tore my Achilles, I went to San Antonio, and I'd never come off the bench ever in my life. And I didn't even have a chance to start there. They were like, no, this is what we want from you. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, that phase of it as well.
And it's tough. It was tough for me at first, but I realized, look, I could sit here and pout about it, or I could do something to affect this game. You know, and just embraced it. Like, you have to continue to change, man. Like, that's learning, changing, that's all something you have to continue to do.
Yeah, I was at a golf tournament about a couple of weeks ago, and I was speaking to a coach that coaches in the league, and they said they had to cut 2 really prominent players that were really nice, but they weren't willing to accept their roles. They were like, y'all are hating on us, and they had to cut them.
Right.
They didn't want to adapt, to be like, man, I'm too young to be adapting, y'all hating on my game. And just hearing you talk about how it sucks, but you have to still figure out a way to affect the game. I think that's a lost art nowadays. I think if most guys that are used to starting don't start, then they give in and give up.
Yeah.
So that's truly unfortunate, especially with today's game, when they're trying to give you an opportunity, and you're like, I don't want that opportunity in that role. I want a different role.
Well, I mean, the way I see it, man, you got to let the game do the talking, and the people that work for you, especially if we're talking about pros here. Like, you can't let that affect the perception of you, you know? So, end of the day, whether it's 20 minutes, 10 minutes, or 48 minutes, you have to play your version of basketball for that amount of time. And you can't, be mad about whatever. I mean, obviously, we're all competitors. We're professional athletes, all competitors. But, you know, when you go in the game, you're taking somebody out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's only 48 minutes in the game. So, you know, you got to go out there and just do what you can within the time you have. And then if you feel like you're better than what you're doing, then let the people that advise you do whatever they do. You know what I mean? But you can't let that affect the way you play. And I'm not saying that like I haven't had it happen with me. I've let it affect me, and you know, I've had my share of being mad and thinking I'm better than what it is, and I'm sure you have too. Like, you know, especially after you know, you see somebody that can't do that something that you're good at. You know what I mean? I mean, it happens. You know, but you know, my mature self now, and looking back, and what I can say to somebody, the younger me is, man, just keep on being you, and it'll figure itself out.
Yeah, for sure. And looking back now, how did you use the game of basketball to benefit your life?
Oh, yeah. I mean, basketball can be it's humbling, man. It's humbling.
It is.
It's humbling. And like you have to continue to reinvent yourself. And, you know, and even me now, like, you know, you have to continue to reinvent yourself. I've always been a guy that is love structure. You know, I love structure. I thrive in structure, and you know, just in regular life, I think the fact that I've had to be at practice at a certain time, had shoot-arounds, had to be here, had to be there, had appearances, and always had times I had to be there is what kind of helps me structure my life off of the court. So I don't think any of us can sit at home and just do nothing. You know what I mean? So, like, it makes it like you got to get off your ass. You got to be here at 2. You got to be here at 5. Like, you got to be on the 2 Cent podcast today at 2 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Right. You got to be on time. Yeah. Yeah. But no, I look at life and the game they parallel one another because everything that we learned in the sport, like you said, about discipline and structure, you got to really have that in life.
Man, yeah.
You know, and I look at it, I always tell everybody, the athletes should know exactly what to do if you have the opportunity, because if you have the proper men in your life, coaches or women that coach, they'll teach you how to be a better person,
yes.
not only a better player, but a better person.
Yes, I mean, I feel like I'm fully like the coaches, all the coaches up until now in my life have taught me how to be a better person, whether I like them or not. You know, because life ain't all about what you like; it's about what you have to do. It's discipline. Your day could be terrible, but you got to do your job.
Right.
You know, you can hate what this person has to say or not agree with it at all, but your team is dependent on you to do whatever they need you to do. So instead of you just throwing in the towel, you got to go out there and perform. So I think more than anything, it taught me how to just keep pushing, no matter what, especially injuries. And coming back from injuries, like it can make or break you, It can make.
After certain games, it used to take me about 20 minutes to get out of my car.
Man, yes.
I had to because you're driving in the car and you're stiffening up.
Oh, man.
And then as soon as you park and then you turn out of there, bro, to stand up, I had to use the car. I just played a game and played like 40 minutes and I had to stand up and then wait there for a second.
Yeah.
Shake my knees out and all that, and before I can move and be like, the first 5 steps were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Man, this hurts. And then it starts to get better, but man, people will never understand that.
Better. But people don't understand, like, even after injuries and as you get older, like people think we just hop on the court and play basketball. It takes us all day to get ready for that game,
Yes.
And a quarter sometimes. Yep. You know what I mean? And it's a process, stretching, lifting, get your body moving, tending to your injuries or whatever, maybe playing through injuries. But, it's a lot that goes with being an athlete, man. And, kudos to everybody that's out there trying to be one, but it ain't easy. I tell my kids, it ain't easy.
Even though early in my career and even in college, I never had any major injuries, but you always have something going on, tendonitis, a twisted ankle, something. You're never fully 100% out there on that court after a certain while, because we were leapers, we were jumpers. So jumping and pounding, planning, taking off, dunking on somebody, running back, trying to block a shot, fighting in the post. There's always something
Getting
going
through screens.
on, man.
Getting through screens.
Yeah.
I tell, what is it? It was like, that's what I say. In my older years, I would say, like, when it comes to that time of year, everybody hurt, man. You got to play through it. Everybody got something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody got something. So, I mean, if you can play through it, play through it.
Yeah. So what's next on the horizon for you, my man? What's next, like, on the horizon? Like, how are you staying connected? What's going on with business? If you want to even just say any of that, what's going on with you?
Well, I'm into, that's the thing, bro. Like we said, as athletes, we can't just keep our hands in one thing, man. I got to be a part of a lot of things, just trying to make my smart investments. I invested in a lot of good things early on. I have a real estate company that I'm working with. And, just trying to keep myself busy and also just try to impact the people around me. I also have a gym in Towson, Maryland. It's called Pick Up USA that I'm at a lot. Okay. I work with kids, and if they ask me, because, I'm not just going to put a kid through something if they don't want it, but
right.
But if they ask me, I work kids out. But just having fun, being my family. That's all.
Yeah, that's good. How much better is your golf game? Do you play a lot, or you don't get to play?
Yeah, I know what it's getting a lot better. My driver is still terrible, but I'm a chipper and putter, bro. I'm a chipper and putter.
Yeah, so again, man, I'm a huge golfer. Mm-hmm. So I try to play in the off season about 5 times a week, and try to get it in. I've gotten my handicap as low as 2.
Really?
But I really work at it. Yeah, it's like the game.
Serious?
Yeah, so it's like the game. I've been retired a while now, so it's like basketball.
Yeah.
We can't sit still. We want to be the best at what we do. I work and I grind, I work and I grind. and I got really good at the game. But yeah, I'm trying to get it to lower than that because I want to be in the plus side of it, man. That's where I am.
It's nothing like being outside, with people that you actually like being around. You just get to talking, you play your music, and playing golf. There's nothing like it, bro. Nothing like it.
Yeah, so again, man, I want to give you your flowers from our city because I know the fans, when they see this, it's probably going to be between you and Zebo, the highest rated 2 Cent podcast because of the town.
Yeah.
Ambassador for St. Jude, Children's Research Hospital. I mean, talk about your time in Memphis and what you would want to say, because you've said it plenty of times, to the fans who still love you dearly for everything that you've done.
No, I'm glad you asked that because I don't think it's talked about enough, man. Like I said, I got there at 19, bro. I left there at 26, 27. So I still think of Memphis as my second home. I love Memphis. Like every time I'm back, I go drive past my old house. I drive, you know what I'm saying? I drive past all of my old houses. I go see the same people. I go eat at the same places, and it's just I got a lot of love for that city. I really need to be back there more. And I've talked to a lot of people from the city, and we're planning on doing more things in the city. Hopefully, one day we can get together and figure out something we can do. But,
yeah, for sure.
I love the city of Memphis. My son was born there. It's embedded. It's embedded in my heart.
Yeah, and we feel the same way about you, man. We love you. We appreciate you, man, and thank you for coming on. We appreciate you guys tuning in for My 2 Cents podcast. Peace.